So for those of you that perhaps haven't been as familiar with the Hubject eMobility Startup Awards, this is the 6th year we are actually running it. And for us at least, it really gives recognition to all of the best innovation that we've kind of seen from across the industry, but particularly from the startup community over the last year. So in the past, the way that we've done this is we've done this very much based on voting that would happen with people like yourself in your seats at the event itself. And what we've done this year is just evolve that a little bit. So over the last couple of weeks, we've had quite a few different applications from different startups. In total, 22 applications were received, 17 were nominated, and over the course of over 8,000 votes online, we have now narrowed that down to the final 5 finalists.
That's right, Oliver. Thank you for the introduction. And congratulations to the 5 finalists. Before we introduce them on stage, I would like to announce the 5 finalists one more time. Congratulations to AlphaGrid, Clockwork, Elektrotrucker, Lumina, and RiDERgy. All right, congratulations. Now, before we announce the winner, we would like to invite each finalist to go on stage and present to all of us their pitch. All right? So without further ado, and we'll do so in alphabetical order. That means let's please give a warm welcome to Luke Akonek, CEO of AlphaGrid.
Good luck. Let's see. Hello. Still loading. Can you guys start with the first? Okay, you got it? Yeah. All right. Reverse order. Great. I'm Luke from AlphaGrid. Nice to meet you all. We exist to make EV charging profitable. Our founding story is Phil and I met at Google. We were working on power system mapping and load forecasting for many years, and then thought there was a huge opportunity to help modernize EV charging. We're very technical and are building a charging intelligence platform to bring visibility to the charging industry. Our thesis is you really can't optimize what you don't know. So a lot of public charging networks don't know their wallet share. They're missing on profit margins. They're mispricing hourly. This is very sensitive. I do not know why this keeps on moving. They are spending too much money on demand charges. And a lot of critical systems are segregated. And critical data lives in different places. From your billing system, performance system, customer feedback, it's in disparate places. And if you don't have this visibility into your network, it's very hard to set prices intelligently. You lose customers, you lose out on loyalty, and your network also grows more slowly. But we know leading charging companies are very data-driven. They might do real-time pricing, utilization-based pricing, at least time-of-use-based pricing. They do smart curtailment. They track customer feedback, and they're able to benchmark performance against nearby peers. So what we do is we're a software company, and we have a data platform. We have a few products. The first is called the Command Center, which is a market intelligence product. We give you a site-level, real-time data feed of most chargers in your region. And from that, you can benchmark your sites, set better pricing strategies, and run your operations a little bit more intelligently. If you'd also like to upgrade to autopilot, we have an AI system that will operate your charging network on your behalf. We can do real-time price updates and load management for you. We plug into any CMS, and we're kind of like your back-end analytics layer. If you don't want to do that, you can still use the manual kind of Command Center version. And we also have another tool, site selection tool, where we have this same data and we can forecast revenue and ROI for new sites to help you plan your network. So it's kind of like choose your own adventure, but it's all based on this kind of global public charging data set. We're a bunch of Google people. We're used to mapping energy systems. Every second, we're scanning about 150,000 chargers across the US, now Europe, Australia, and Canada. So we know, for example, how much energy is sold by hour of day down the street from your nearest competitor. And this, in turn, helps us do things like measure demand elasticity, measure willingness to pay, and help empower your charging network strategies. And the software, to zoom in a little bit, looks like this. So you get a dashboard. Think about it like a revenue intelligence tool. We can show you your nearby sites, track your lift, break down all sorts of stuff for you so you don't have to build this yourself. There's a bunch of different platform modules like wallet share, utilization analytics. We can analyze seasonality, benchmark your pricing. We do sentiment analysis of driver feedback. And we also, if you give us your energy bills, we'll tell you how to curtail. And you get a whole bunch of features and widgets here that, again, I'm happy to demo if you want to schedule a meeting with me. And if you'd like to turn on the AI, it's just a flip of a switch, and we can start dynamically controlling your public charging ports as well. We mix together that pricing data that we have. If you want to share your network data, we can analyze that for you and then use that to tune prices to your sites. We also have real estate information, traffic data, weather data, all this stuff. You mix it together, and you get this really smart dynamic system. But why do you care, right? We all care about outcomes. So we want you to win market share. We want you to increase utilization. We want you to save money on your energy bills. And we want you to set better pricing policies. And again, we can do this all for you turnkey. And you get to choose your adventure. Start with the manual analytics and then upgrade to autopilot if you'd like. Even today, just running through the math, that's about a 7 to 10% gross margin boost, even with pretty conservative inputs in boosting revenue and minimizing your energy cost. We actually average about a 25% increase in revenue and a 10% decrease in energy costs. But this is a conservative case, and we still just exist to make you guys more money. So we think it's a new way of thinking, right? Again, the old world is a hardware-centric. New world's very data-driven. Let's bring you into the future. And it's easy to get started. We can probably integrate with your network within 1 to 2 weeks. We analyze your information, we benchmark you, and then we can start sending you better strategies. And I think there's one more slide. There you go. Yeah, so please reach out. We can do a free site report for you and compare, if you're a CPO, some of your sites to your nearby competitors and see if we can add value. So thank you so much. I'm Luke, and it's a pleasure being with you.
From Clockwork, please welcome Andrea Curry, CEO, and Jen Buchanan, COO, on their next pitch.
Hi, everyone. I'm Andrea from Clockwork. Thank you so much for having me. So happy to be here today. Just quick introduction of our founding team. We're a Canadian company. Half our founders are actually European. I would say it's the smart half, but it's also the male half, so it's debatable. So we're here really Clockwork's about solving that charging performance gap. So there was a really great presentation eVailable did yesterday where they really hit this. But we know that operators are seeing 99% uptime. Meanwhile, drivers are only seeing 60% charge success. And we essentially fix that. This is just a really kind of crazy screen cap that I pulled out of the app, but it's showing a whole bunch of different things that erode first charge success. And some of them would actually surprise you. But I think the point here is and this is a simplified version, it's actually sort of death by 1,000 cuts, if you will. There's many, many, many little things that you're trying to capture and fix to make this first charge success dream a reality. There's really kind of 3 buckets, I think, that if you look at those problems and how to solve them, there's 3 kind of big holes in the system right now that are what we essentially apply systems thinking and fix. So the first one is undetected incidents. So, a lot of your charging problems, you're sitting there blind, you don't even know that they're happening. Drivers report poor experiences, and you're surprised sometimes by those things, and you don't really know what specifically is happening. So that's the first thing we fixed, and I'll tell you how. The second one is really diagnostic complexity. So, in order to figure these things out, you got 10 screens up, you're pulling data from multiple different systems, trying to manually correlate it. That doesn't make sense, and we automate all that. And the third thing, which is honestly the biggest piece of your sort of availability problem, is the sheer time it takes to coordinate a fix once you even figure out those other two things. So maybe a driver's called and said, hey, I'm having this problem. How do you then coordinate with the service side? So we automate that entirely end-to-end, from detection through to the diagnostic, and then through to the actual service contractor coordination and fix. So step one, as I said, is comprehensive data. We have a bit of a different approach to this. We really think networks are more than just chargers. So your OCPP data is one piece of what you can know, but you also can plug into routers, gateways, switchgear, cameras. All of these IoT streams that are out there are ways for you to correlate, have topography or topology, and understand what's really happening with your data. And that's what we do in Clockwork, is we pull this data from multiple different sources so we get a real picture of the whole network. Step two on the diagnosis, again, like cables are cut, hardware problems, connectivity. This is, again, sort of an illustration of that, all the different kinds of issues that you can have. And Clockwork is able to detect all these issues. And it's not always because the thing is putting its hand up and saying, I'm a cable, I'm cut. Like, every once in a while that you have a hardware that does that. But we can see through pattern-based analysis and things like that, that something is wrong, and we can assess by pulling all this data together what the likelihood of that being a cut cable is, for example, so you then can action it. And finally, and I think often the missing piece, is having the text with the info to fix it, and even the right, I'm sort of tongue-in-cheek saying, and the right parts, because we all know that can be a problem. So what Clockwork is doing, is essentially, we also have a mobile app piece that will, once we've diagnosed an issue, you can either allow us to automate it, or you can click one click, it goes to your tech. Your tech has all the info on the ticket. We're stepping them through, all the readiness for the site, all the details on the site specifically, and just saving what, in my past life, working on the operations side, was really a big problem of multiple phone calls, multiple visits, et cetera, to get things fixed, because that fixed time essentially ends up being a huge piece of your availability number. So our dream is really to have CPOs have total transparency in their network, see 100% of what's happening to a level that I think we aren't even really imagining at this point, but exists in other industries like telco and utilities. Secondly is to instantly know what's broken, so be able to detect these things and find the root cause of them in real time. And thirdly, to watch it resolve itself. So that's either through automation on our end, or through getting our friends in the service workforce out and onto the site, but in a more informed, more captured way. And then that data about how things get fixed comes back and hones our algorithms. So we're always learning in Clockwork about how to fix these issues. And obviously, so you can focus on your business, grow, scale, make money, all the things that we want. So if you're interested, we'd love to work with you. Jen and I, we have quite a few, thousands and thousands of chargers online in North America. We came here to really understand if this was a problem for Europe. So if you're interested, we have lots of paths to get you started. We can show you a demo. Come see us. Scan here if you want to talk to us later as well. We'd love to connect. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Let's give it up for Andrea from Clockwork. All right, let's welcome our next finalist. Please give it up for Tobias Wagner, founder of Elektrotrucker.
Yeah, welcome everybody. My name is Tobias Wagner. I'm here with the eTrucker app today. Pleasure to be here. And you can see my battery electric truck in the background because I'm a real truck driver. You can see it on my head. You can also see it on my truck belt and a little bit on my belly I gained in the last year. Because I've been driving battery electric trucks now for more than 1 year and more than 120,000 kilometers. So I know what I'm talking about, and I want to share my passion with you guys, what I've seen in the last year. That was the first truck I started with, a Volvo FM Electric with 540 kilowatt-hour battery capacity, which is a huge number compared to the cars. But that was not the only truck. Then I switched to a Scania 40R. This one already had a 624 kilowatt-hour battery, and that was really impressive. So I'm always taking my small dog with me, Krümelix, who is always joining me on my journeys. But I'm just using the current technology, 350 kilowatts or 400 kilowatts charger, and that's perfectly suitable to the limited driving times you have as a truck driver. You can only drive for 4.5 hours, then you need to make a mandatory break, and that fits perfectly to the use case of long-haul trucking with battery electric trucks. So I drove through the Kasseler Berge and drove all the tours around Europe. They were obviously impossible, but I just drove there and it actually worked. So I was pretty happy about that. That was my favorite truck, an Iveco SE-Way. This has more than 1,000 horsepower. It's actually faster than the majority of electric cars. Really impressive. And that's why the slogan is everyone drives a V8 Scania as a trucker. But actually, the new slogan is 800 volt. It's even more powerful. Maybe that will be the new slogan for the electric trucks in the future. Also, a pretty interesting truck from DAF, which has a pretty huge LFP battery, 525 kilowatt hours. And I also drove it to Italy, which was pretty impressive. And of course to Sweden, I drove the MAN ETGX. So you see, I drove every long-haul truck there is in Europe in the last year, and that was a really cool experience, and also helping some truck CPOs like here in Milan's to set up their locations, which is then a cool story to tell. So that's my current truck, a Mercedes e-Actros 600, which has a 621 kilowatt-hour battery, LFP, which is huge. You can see I'm actually working for a rather small company in the northwest of Germany, in Ostfriesland. And they have a cool slogan, which is they prefer Strom vom Deich instead of Öl vom Scheich, because they just do what they have right now. And it's really impressive to see all those trucks around. So from my experience, I've also faced some issues because you're using the same technology, but also the same apps. For example, the Ionity app. And then I drove there, and there was actually a barrier, like limited from the height. So I was not able to get in there. I tried it really hard. I drove a little bit faster, but it didn't work out. So there I've seen, well, we need a better POI data communication to the truckers, and the existing systems and existing apps maybe won't work in the future. Then it's also interesting to see the different CPOs having different strategies. There are CPOs that are really open to trucks. Some of them don't like them. For example, Fasten here with a weight limitation. So you could charge their truck there 400 kilowatts, but you're actually not allowed to. And the trucker should know that before he goes there, obviously. And that's also interesting. That picture was just a few days old, and that you also need a live data for the chargers. It takes sometimes 10 to 50 minutes to get to the charger from the highway, and then you drive there and it's occupied. Maybe you should have chosen a different charger. And that's interesting because Aral told everyone, well, there are only trucks allowed now at our truck chargers, but obviously the cars are still charging. That was taken yesterday, and so the truckers just need support. And that's why we are here with the eTrucker app. It's a fairly simple tool for all the truckers that are on a long-haul use case. The majority of trucks right now only drive from depot to depot, so no intermediate opportunity charging. But in the future, you've seen the numbers. It's just impressive to drive all across Europe. I've even been to Turkey with a battery electric truck, and then you just need that app and a tool for the truckers to help with. That's why we built the eTrucker app. And it starts like with the best PUI database of truckers. There are actually 800 truck charging locations already existing in Europe right now. Some of them are purpose-built for trucks, some of them are passenger cars chargers, but they still work for trucks, so we need to show them to the truckers. And we're actually calculating the driving time, because you have this 4.5-hour limitation, and if the truck charger is 5 hours away, then it's difficult to get there. And that's why we want to help here. Then, of course, truck-specific filters, because sometimes you're not allowed to sleep at the location where you're actually charging, but if your driving time is over, then you would maybe choose a different charger. So there are quick filters on top. And of course, some CPOs have regulations and maybe instructions for the truckers. They can share those information to the truckers because right now there's no interface to communicate with them. And interesting, we are here not to help like the big companies like Aral or Milans. They will figure it out, and also the large logistics companies, DAXA, will also figure it out. But the small transport companies, also the small CPOs like here, this is one CPO with only one location. It's really difficult to do marketing there and to get the truckers there. And we want to be a platform for them as well, because right now you always get a new card. Like it's remembering like the passenger cars 10 years ago, but I have 20 charging cards with me because with those bilateral agreement, you discuss the price, then you get another card, and every truck gets another card and another card. So we also developed a small interface like the e-trucker chip that reduces the complexity of those cards, that you have only one card with your truck key, and you get easy access also to the small CPOs, which is really important for us. So we want to be the bridge between the transport companies and, of course, the CPOs, because the numbers are huge, that you can earn so much money with it. And maybe a short information about our business model. So we charge a basic fee per truck. We don't charge anything per kilowatt hour. And the story is that if you tap the wrong EMP or the wrong charging card once, then the charging session maybe costs 300 euros more. Normal charging sessions are roughly 250 to 300 euros, but if you maybe charge with the Shell card and an Aral Pulse charger, it costs 600 euros. We're just taking a small margin of this savings that the trucker makes sure he drives to the right charger with the right price. That's what we built with our small platform. So it's already available right now. You can just scan the QR code and have a look in the App Store. It's called eTrucker. We have more than 10,000 downloads. Of course, not all of them are long-haul truckers, but we have a really good data set that we know how many trucks are currently driving around Germany and Europe, which is really impressive. So roughly 800 locations. And we have a great community that validate those truck chargers, that the data we're showing in the app is really correct, that you can go there with a 40-ton battery electric truck. That's why we're here, to bring this transition forward. I'm glad to be here and looking for your conversations afterwards. And thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Tobias. And for those of you that haven't signed up to that YouTube channel yet, it's really worth signing up. Quite an eye-opener as well. Great. We're making good progress. So we are now down to the final two pitches. Let me please welcome you, Team Lumina, and in particular, Mikkel and Sophus of the team.
Are you going to be?
We are going speaking. Hi everyone. We're called Lumina. My name is Mikkel. And our two remaining partners are sitting down here. No sound on sofas. We'll just share this. We are a team with backgrounds in data science and engineering. And what we do, Lumina does, is that we have built AI-powered intelligent software for the operations teams. So it's built for the operations, so every single feature is designed to ease operational pain points and improve network performance. So when we started building Charger Health, our solution and our goal was to create a solution to solve operational charging issues. But even more importantly, we wanted to create a tool that the operation teams actually wanted to use. So in order to do that, we took a step back, well, technically forward, but back, and then we sat down with different operation teams every single week. As flies on the wall, week after week, we sat down and observed how they work, what their daily routines are, what are their workflows, what are their pain points, what processes could be optimized. And in doing this, we kind of found three, let's call them areas, that we wanted to focus on with our product. The first one is that these operation teams, they are constantly monitoring because they're shifting through enormous amounts of data trying to identify and fix charger faults. And this is, of course, due to the enormous amount of frequency and data that's being sent, but also a lot of noise. Secondly, reactive workflows. We could see that often, and it makes a lot of sense, problems are addressed only if they're categorized as faults through the data or if a customer or a driver reports it in. But it also means that it's always after the fact. And then lastly, manual investigation. We could see that every single time an issue came into the operator's team, they had to sit down and then start collecting data from multiple sources, opening programs, opening logs, shifting through again all this data to try to categorize and find out, okay, where's the issue? What kind of solution could we have? And every single case became an individual case. So.
Right, so to boil it down, what we could see was a flow of escalation of fault, some kind of manual investigation, then a decision to be made, an action to take on this issue, and then manually monitoring, did this fix the issue or do I have to look at it even thoroughly? So we proposed that we could build an end-to-end foundation that is intelligent and would allow the operator to do all of this automatically while staying in control. So as some of you sure know, OCPP is the language that the chargers speak, and we've received more than 3 billion logs of these. So our process of building this intelligent foundation starts with processing this raw OCPP into a format that is digestible for our models. Then, after it's been formatted in a structured way, we learn from data patterns what kind of fault groups each of these issues can fall into. And from this, we can identify what is the fault type and what is the corresponding recommended action. And we automatically monitor, does it fix it? And all of this is combined into a reinforcement continuous loop. So whenever our model continues to see new issues, it continues to get smarter. Yeah, so let's look at some concrete applicable examples of this. First, we have consolidation and aggregation of relevant data. So when an operator goes to an issue or a charger, the person has everything it needs to see what is going on, what is the issue, how it has been performing for the last X number of days. Next, we have filters through the noise. A lot of fault messages and generally OCPP logs are just noise, so our systems is able to see what should be escalated, what should be acted on immediately, what should be monitored, what are we uncertain of currently, and what is purely noise and should save the operator's time. And lastly, identify data patterns. So we see data patterns in two ways. First, we have, based on the historical performance of each individual charger on each site, how is it performing, and when does it start to deviate from this performance? And secondly, once an action is taken on a specific issue, does it fix that issue? So does the resolution match the action? Right. So an example of the deviations is, here we see a predicted performance based on historical performance of a charger. As soon as that deviation is detected, we send an alert. Performance could be something like success rates, utilization rates, charging efficiency, so kilowatt-hour outputs, etc. And then secondly, the data pattern of resolution. So each issue is mapped to an action. So whenever we see a following issue that is similar to what we've already experienced, we know exactly what to do and when to act. So without an intelligent foundation built directly into your operation team and your OCPP engine, your every problem that they encounter remains a black box.
And then let's talk about and look at what the CPO achieved from doing this. So the first thing that is achieved is the ability to automate daily management workflows. And it's not just that we go in and automate everything, it's still the operation teams that chooses which parts of the operation that needs to be automated. And this, of course, reduces time to action, and as we've seen, by up to 90% so far. Secondly, it achieves the reduction of faults and recurring issues in general, which of course correlates directly to increased charging success rates and uptime. It also achieves the identification of what we call invisible faults, so things that aren't inherent to the data but can only be done through data analysis or machine learning models, and these issues. And through our data and what we've seen so far, all of these invisible issues that you can't actually get out of just reading the log accounts for more than 90% of technical issues on a charger. So it's a huge amount of room that is right now not really being claimed or done anything about. And then last of all, it achieves for the operator the consolidation, as Sophus was talking about a bit earlier, the consolidation of all relevant information in a single view. So we try to say, okay, if this should be a tool for the operation teams, it has to be what they are normally doing, but done easier. So we try to see, okay, every single time they're doing or fixing or diagnosing or identifying, we always put everything, all of their actions and workflows into a single view for them to proceed more efficiently and improve the quality. Yesterday was a very big day. We announced our partnership with Spiri, who have been an incremental part of our development and also in shaping the product, because we are from data and they are from charging. So it's been really a teamwork effort in getting us this far. And also the product Charger Health is, as of right now, available to all the CPOs already using Spiri. So if you're using Spiri, you can check it out. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been lovely to be here.
Yeah, and if you have any questions with regards to OCPP or how we do our calculations or how we define metrics such as success rates, etc., come talk to us. We're the one calculating this, so we'd love to chat.
Thanks.
Sorry? All right.
Thank you so much, Mikael and Sophus from Lumina. All right, we're down to our last finalist. Please, let's give a warm welcome to Claudio Geiken, CEO and co-founder of RiDERgy.
Hey, so I'm Claudio, founder and CEO of RiDERgy, and I hate the energy transition. I hate the energy transition as it is right now because I know it could be so much better. Let me show you why. We're already wasting about $60 billion worth of energy in the world, 5 billion, close to 5 billion, and 5% in Germany alone. And this is due to several reasons. And let me guide you through some of these reasons and why we should care. Here is a very nice picture, and I'm sure many of you know it, but just let me guide you through for those that are not aware. The electricity prices change every 15 minutes. That's European-wide. There are countries in the developing world and even in China that are still not there, but will eventually get there as well. And in countries like Germany and all over Europe, and even in other states in the US, Texas in particular, very much known for that, these prices are changing dramatically based off renewables. And that's where capitalism and the environmental movement come together. Because when it's cheap, it's particularly green, and vice versa. There's this term called the Hitzeflaute, a beautiful German word, which was characterizing the summer, where we had a lot of heat and sunny days, but no wind at all. And in Germany, and for those that are not familiar, I will give you some sense, every 5 minutes we were losing 1 gigawatt of power, which was reflected in very, very high prices in the afternoon and evening hours, and very low prices during the noon. And 1 gigawatt, just to give a sense, the peak in Germany is 80 gigawatt. So we're losing very rapidly everything that we were even just consuming. So it's over 100 gigawatt of installed capacity of solar in Germany. So it's quite significant challenge to deal with it. Now, what is the opportunity there? Charging electric vehicles when it's cheap and discharging them when it's expensive. A no-brainer, right? But there are many, many challenges to achieve that. On the one hand, you really need to be aware of the vehicle's capacity to charge. That's the mobility data. And for some use cases, it's simpler than others. If you're talking vans, delivering packages, it might be a bit easier. But then an employee charging at work is a bit more complicated. At the same time, there are a lot of different interoperability issues. So there's different chargers, there's different inverters, there's different batteries, there's different utilities, there's grids. But what are grids? There's actually 800 distribution grid operators and a lot of transmission grid operators in Germany alone, and in many, many other countries. There's different systems that one needs to be able to talk to leverage this potential. So challenges related to interoperability, predicting the data required, and combining all these systems together to be able to then do the perfect charge control is one of the main systemic challenges that we're dealing with. I call this the software-defined energy world. So it's not only decentralized and decarbonized, but it's a software world where incumbents and utilities are particularly not suited to deal with this. So they definitely need software players to help them out in making this happen together. Now, let's talk a bit more concretely. What is it that RiDERgy does for their fleets? You saw it in the beginning, AI-powered energy management. So we're seeing these are types of fleets we work with, so last mile delivery fleets, but also we're very proud of working with Audi for their employees at their charge points at the sites. It's one of the largest sites actually in the world. And the problem they're facing is they need to guarantee uptime of the vehicles. So it means that these vehicles need to be usable, and with constrained grids, they risk not being able to recharge for their employees. Very big risk if you run in operations like HelloFresh where people want their food. And at the same time, they need total cost of ownership to be very low. And the good thing is, there are already things that we can do today to tackle the complexity I was showcasing in the beginning. So, for example, if a company like that uses a dynamic tariff, we can distribute the power to the lowest prices. So every 15 minutes, pick and choose the lowest prices for their vans once they're back at the depot. That's the good thing about private charging, which is a completely different game than the public charging game where there are many more stakeholders. Then, if they have PV, they can also self-consume their electricity with solar energy. And the grid fees, it's a bit complex if you're not in the game, but there's different value pools that you can combine there. The game is value stacking, so combining all these value streams ultimately to enable them to cut costs and be convinced about e-mobility. Because truth be told, from all the conversations I've had with fleet managers, they are not necessarily the most enthusiastic about the transition, and we need to convince so that this transition actually gets done and there's no AFD or right-wing parties convincing the population that this should not be done. And costs matter. So being able to leverage all these value pools for these type of players, predicting and combining all the value pools that I was referring to, that's kind of our core business. So that's actually quite hard. If you break it down mathematically, it's one of the hardest challenges if you want to do it right. And so a combined analytics and app visualization that we offer to fleets is ultimately what they can navigate and use us for. I wrote and I actually created a company with, if you have noticed, RiDERgy, DER in capital letters. Why is that? Distributed energy resources for the ones that are in the industry is what we want to achieve. Eventually, we're not optimizing only one side. The electric vehicle moves around. So the employee that knows us from his employer and is able to charge as well at his home, thanks to us, in a bi-directional way, is going to be able to save money not only to his employer, but to himself. That's one thing. And supporting the energy transition by not wasting all the energy when it's overly produced that cannot be transported to the grids, but storing it in these batteries. I believe cooperation is key. There's plenty of players out here. We have seen a number, CPMSs, MSP, utilities, etc. This complexity will not be managed by one player. It's essential that everybody has an open API infrastructure that works and that people can interconnect to easily and exchange information. So if you see any type of synergy with what we're doing, we're very happy to cooperate. I think orchestrating all of this complexity requires a combined effort, and we want to be fast at this so that we stop wasting and make the energy transition as it could be. Now, as a tangible next step, the way you can stay in touch with us as well, I'm actually quite happy to have started a podcast in January. So if you want to have a listen, wherever you listen, very easy to find Smart Charge by RiDERgy. So feel free to follow. There's already over 20 episodes with industry leaders and founders and CEOs also of companies in this room. And happy to answer any questions afterwards, and hopefully you vote for us.
Great. Thank you very much, Claudio, for a great presentation as well. So that includes our final pitch. And you may have seen there's a very nice shiny object just on the end of the stage here at the moment. But there can only be one winner, and all the votes are in. The voting closed as of midnight last night. So the only thing left to do is to really move on to the final message, and that is to announce the winner. So it gives me great pleasure to welcome to the stage Christian Hahn, CEO of Hubject, who will basically be selecting the final winner.
Thank you, Oliver. Yeah, good afternoon from my side as well. I think that were 5 super impressive presentations we just have seen. And thanks for your energy. I know it's 3 days, first time we ever did a conference for 3 days, and probably you all share a bit the feeling I have, that it was super intense, super exciting, but also a bit exhausting. I don't know how you feel about it. But I really need to say that I'm really impressed by all the energy you brought to these conversations. I think the Tech Village this year was a huge success. We had great conversations. A lot of people really went into the details of our lovely industry, and that's what it's about, right? Going into the details, trying to understand how it works, trying to understand how we can improve it based on collaboration. And I think all the 5 presentations we've just seen spoke about collaboration as well, how important this is for the future of industry. So therefore, I think all the 5 finalists definitely deserve an applause. Thank you. as I'm having the pleasure also not only to announce the winner, but also to speak a bit about how this whole event went out, I would like to highlight 2 more topics for today. First topic is, this is not the end. So there are still 1 panel happening at 3:40 p.m. This afternoon. Please join the main stage if you're interested in how co-innovation can work between OEMs, CPOs, and other players of the ecosystem. I think that will be very exciting because, again, it's all about collaboration. And on top of this, before you're leaving, and you haven't done so, there's still some space left on our manifesto we want to share next week to the politicians in Brussels, right? We spoke about it. It's very important that we are not deviating the 2035 targets. We need to stand firm on this, and every vote here in this room counts for this. So please support us. If you haven't done so, as said, there's a bit of space left for your signatures, for your strong voice, to make sure that we get the right decision done in Brussels, and that we are getting closer and closer to the mass market environment of electrification. That's what we're working on. Having that said, now I have the pleasure to announce the winner of our this year's Object E-Mobility Startup Award. Very excited about it. Just to remind us, this year we changed a bit the way we selected the winner, right? We have not only listened to all the participants joining this conference, but we also have included all the votes, all the feedback from all the people in the industry on social media as well. So therefore, I'm very happy to announce now this year's winner, who have got more than 3,000 votes for his idea, which is really, really, really impressive, I must say. So therefore, very happy to welcome Tobias on stage with his Elektrotrucker app. All the best. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for sharing some great ideas, and also thank you very much for convincing all the people to vote for you. Very impressive. And do you want to share some last words about this prize and this competition with us?
Of course, thank you so much for the opportunity. And it's only me, I'm the Elektrotrucker, but we're a great team with Michael, who does the whole product management, and Matthias, who does the actual app development. So we're actually not working here. He's doing all the work. So thank you so much for your votes, and thank you, Christian, for the opportunity to be here. Yeah, thank you so much. Maybe you have something to add?
Thank you, it's really great, and it will definitely help us kick this topic off. We love truck charging, and let's make it happen.
Exactly, definitely. So thank you, and congratulations again. This is your prize.